Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Chesh Breaks, where we're usually doing Mail Day. That's a bit fucking awkward because Australia Post has gone to shit.
Yeah. I don't know, webcam.
And I mean, we do have a Fleer Ultra box, but we're not going to open that yet. So Mail Day's a bit skinny, but we do have a guest at least. So first, I'll go around and I'll introduce Sam. Sam, how you doing?
Good, Chesh. What's happening? We're actually getting some sunshine and some reprieve from this crazy hellhole times. But haven't we all
That's-
learned a thing or two?
That's
about,
not a good thing.
getting
We don't want
connected?
sunshine. Sunshine means things burn.
Yeah, and yeah, that is true. And as we talk to some friends in the States, that's abundantly true actually. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe get outside. Maybe get some vitamin D for now. But take care of yourself. Might get really bad soon.
And of course, we also have a special guest, which is Shane from Talking Cupboard. Shane, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I always feel like whenever I say the podcast name to somebody that I fuck it up. Every time.
No, you've pretty much nailed it. It's pretty easy.
And every time I have to check just to make sure, I'm like, did I just fuck that up again? Like, no, it's
Corky
fine.
cardboard.
God damn it.
That's passed 5 times.
No, I don't think I could do that. No, it's a great name for a podcast because you talk cardboard, you know?
Yeah, I think that was the plan. That there was never going to be too much thought. I mean, Ben and myself aren't the most creative type in the world, so I don't think we're ever going to come up with something really witty or clever. So it was literally what we could register a domain with at the time as well. That was another big factor. It's like, well, what isn't taken? What's somewhat descriptive? And how can we go about this the quickest way? Because we don't want to spend 15 minutes making a podcast that took us 3 months to name. So we just picked a name and went with it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
No, it's excellent. Says it on the box, and as I've always found that it's kind of the verbiage of like all you need to do is imagine you're recommending it to someone, and how does that go? And if it's named something weird or it doesn't even say what it's about, then like what's the point? So no, excellent. And a good podcast to boot, I'll say that. So we can at least say
boys.
that.
Well, I found you guys obviously via Cherry, due to the Zion 1K. How is that going?
Look, I've hit a bit of a trouble. I think Ben actually made what I felt was an interesting trade at the time. He thought it was a game-changing trade, and he actually traded for a Porter Junior. It was I think it was some sort of, might have been a mosaic variation, but it was a pretty rare one, pretty low number, and he thought it was amazing. But turns out that obviously doesn't have a big market, so it wasn't great for him. I picked up a Giannis Mosaic Jam Masters PSA 10. I thought this is amazing. As soon as Giannis wins MVP and Bucks make the conference finals, this is just going to continue to go up in value. And Giannis has done Giannis things, and his value isn't quite going up so much at the moment. So I'm at a bit of a stalemate. I think everyone now is expecting that was showing any interest is sort of like, so are we going to revisit that trade now? I'm like, I don't know. So the next step is going to be an interesting one. I might have to go down to go back up again. But yeah, taking my time in working out how I'm going to manage that.
Yeah, I like COVID. I assume that COVID doesn't make it any easier either. Like that's a pretty big like sort of Damocles, because it's just like, well, if you do a post trade with somebody, like you're waiting weeks and weeks to get that item.
Yeah, everyone's been pretty good so far. Like as far as we've sort of, we've said to them, look, it's obviously time's a thing, and usually just offered to pay for express post either way, just so we can do. But even now, express post is a little bit of an issue. So it's sort of,
it doesn't work. Really.
Yeah, it's not even a thing. Like
broken.
We're not going to try to ignite Chesh anymore and talk about it and get him sort of hyped up about post. But yeah, it's difficult. But I think it's a reality of the hobby, I guess. So it just plays into just another factor that you deal with every day with trades. I mean, that's what we wanted to sort of make people aware that, hey, you can trade cards still. You don't need to sell everything. You don't need to buy everything, and that they are trading cards for all intents and purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's the heart of the game, essentially. I was going to say too, if just for anyone who hasn't heard about what the Zion trade thing's about, but it's essentially, as I understand, it's the red paperclip type thing, isn't it?
100%. That's exactly what it is.
So it's. I mean, where did you guys start? And who's? I haven't even followed it actually. I've just seen it like posted a couple of times. But yeah, like I know we've got a few people who be like, oh, what's actually going on? And awesome thing to follow.
We started with Cherry donated, which was really good of them. We had a Zion Hoops BGS, 9.5 each. So that's where we'd started. And the idea was to try to trade a low value Zion into $1,000 card, which it's a little bit sort of, I guess, artificial in the sense that people have been really helpful. So we've probably got some favourable trades along the way.
Yeah.
We're donating the final value once we can get to $1,000, or if we don't and concede along the way, it's donated to charity. So people have sort of, I guess, been had charity in mind when they've been doing trades. So we've done well in that sort of regard. But the idea is to just sort of trade it up without sort of selling it. We sort of toyed around with the idea of, okay, are you allowed to sell or razz a card off and then use that money to buy a new one? And we thought it's getting away from what we wanted to do originally anyway. So it's sort of, I guess it get tricky. In the first week or two, we made a few trades really quickly, but then it obviously slows down a little bit. But as with anything, I mean, if you could start with a $60 card and trade up to $1,000 card in the space of a week every week, everyone would be very rich people. So yeah, not realistic.
But it's just a fun exercise too, as far as, I mean, yeah, good cause, but it's also just again, it promotes the side of like reminding us why we do this and why we enjoy it and that kind of thing, and the best sides of it too. And sometimes in those trades, I mean, in Melbourne, in a better state, I guess, it would be more of that day-to-day kind of meet up for trade things, and next thing you know, you've got a new bud who collects cards as well, like that kind of stuff. So
absolutely, and that's where it's the internet's been a huge thing with cards, but I guess it's sort of a lot of people, especially that maybe have entered the hobby in the last year or so, probably haven't really as much experienced that sort of almost trade day type thing, and it's something that's probably fallen a little bit away to the wayside. There's certain people. Cherry still have the odd one. Sports Card World up in Adelaide have one every month. Just the Best Cards in Western Australia do one each month, I think it is, or maybe even it's every second month. But there's a few places that still do them. But they really are fun, and I think it's sort of, it makes you start to realise, when it's something else and you can't do that at all, you start to sort of really think, gee, I miss them. And it's like, well, I haven't been to one for a year anyway. But you start to sort of really understand how much you miss it. So definitely think once that's done, I'd love to organise something in Melbourne again.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, for sure. Well, and I mean, that's what it's all about too. You start to miss what we took for granted, I guess. So,
yeah, I mean, I've been speaking with Guff Werribee. Because Jim is a good friend, and Jim wants to do like a trade day and possibly get some content creators together for it as well, and maybe do like a bit of a charity-ish thing. So that's something on the horizon that we'll discuss with everyone once we have some more details on that. I know that
Cherry visions of a whole bunch of amateur food bloggers all just sitting around getting free meals at a cafe now, and this is sort of just going to be a whole bunch of us nerds sitting around posting card pictures on our Instagram,
getting free cards.
I'm a basketball card influencer.
God. I'll always take free cards. What you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey Wade, how you doing? Good to see you back in the stream. So there's a couple of things that I want to do. So obviously none of us have really anything to crack. Again, I'm not cracking the Fleer Ultra until Friday, regardless, or possibly Wednesday.
Why was that? I can't even remember if we discussed why that was, but is it Friday's a good time to crack a box?
Well, I didn't want to crack it on mail day because I only wanted to take half an hour today instead of like our usual hour and a half because I'm hungry.
No, definitely.
And it's Monday.
Friday night might become like box cracking time, I guess.
Yeah, possibly. We'll see. It depends on what arrives between now and when Blake comes on Wednesday. So obviously Blake from Cherry's coming back on. So I guess we should do the mail day, and this is the only thing from mail day. Now, there's a bit of an explanation here. If I can get the light right on it, which I really can't. I need to like really just completely adjust everything. Can I try and
since I'm playing catch up a little bit, I'm gathering from the last stream that I watched, you PC Carson, yeah?
What made you think that?
Well, and I'm also gathering by Sam's laughter there that it's almost like an unhealthy obsession rather than a
now he's
DP.
just like shorting out the system. It's like, come on. This is good.
So when I came back into the hobby, the first thing I did was find somebody who was a rookie that I really liked and just went ham, basically. Like, bought out everything that was cheap that I could. So I ended up with a whole bunch of like Hoops, Rookie Carson, and Optic and stuff. Because I liked the way that Carson was playing outside of the NBA. And then I was really digging when he was going like back with the red claws. Red claws. Yeah, those ones.
No one ever references the G League team, but
Yeah, I was gonna.
the Red
I'm
Claws
assuming
totally.
it was the. I was assuming that it was going to be their G League team. I thought I'm not even going to ask.
I do my research.
But those teams change all the bloody time anyway. But the Red Claws have stayed around forever, and they just got the most badass name ever. I mean, who doesn't want a dancing lobster as their kind of?
No, that's not their logo, is it?
Red Claws, yeah.
Oh wow, that is actually cool. Like, I'm going to investigate a Red Claws jersey now.
Yeah,
you really should. It looks amazing.
Sure.
But yes, you're right. I do have. I wouldn't say an unhealthy obsession. I've slowed down on buying Carson for the moment. Carson didn't get the wood time I was hoping that he'd get. So, no court time means that the cards just kind of like stagnate. But I bought out everything cheap. So that's why, I'm sorry, people, that's why you can't get Optics base rookie of Carson and Hoops at a good price, and everyone's now charging like
one other Carson collector who's like, damn it, someone's beating me.
It's funny, I had somebody message me through the Facebook page asking me if any of my Carsons were for sale. And I was like, no, sorry, I'll have to wait until next season. Maybe then I'll sell some.
I mean, the Google search does yield. We remember not too long ago. Our memories are pretty short these days. It's how it goes with news cycles and everything. But his top result is the great James Harden didn't know Carson Edwards could dunk either.
No one did.
He just yammed on him. And it's like, I didn't know he's 6 foot. I didn't know he could jam.
He's not even 6 foot. He's 5'11".
Yeah, true.
And he just got up there and just like smashed it.
Yeah.
Outboard. So this is a green prism that I picked up. The initial price of this was like $30, and I was like, nah, you're kidding. You are kidding. We went back and forth on eBay a bit, and I ended up getting it for like, I think $21, which I think is fine. Probably a little bit high, to be honest. Like, it's not a silver. As far as I'm aware, the greens are a little bit easier to get than a silver. It's probably the same, to be honest. But like, I picked it up because I was just like, all right, well, I mean, yeah, 20-ish bucks is fine, just to chuck it in my PC for now.
I'm a huge fan of the variations matching the jerseys, though.
Oh yeah,
really the Tatum green Celtic stuff I love. Like, I'm not even a Tatum guy.
Well, that's
just, if I was going to take something, I'd want it to have some sort of meaning, whether it be to me or I'm sure some other niche group of people. But I just love the idea of it matching.
Oh, it's absolutely aesthetically pleasing.
But I don't think it's ever happened, but I'd love a purple that was like matched with the Minnesota Prince jerseys. That would be the most badass thing ever. It's such an edge case. It wouldn't happen because they'd have to choose a photo of it. Anyway, yeah.
But I mean, one of the things I was saying is like, next season hopefully will be Carson Edwards' season. Like, when you're a rookie, you don't get a whole lot of time on the court because you're not Shaquille O'Neal and you're not Michael Jordan,
But the Boston have played a couple, which is a good sign.
Yeah,
which is nice. Like,
yeah, exactly. And I mean, look, maybe even during the conference and during finals, like, maybe he'll get some more court time. Who knows? And
the thing is, too, Boston is so young and so deep that he's going to get opportunities eventually, and he's sort of going to grow with that team. So.
And their culture's right, I think, right?
Exactly.
They've done so well developing like Jalen Brown, even Smart. Like it's
and this was the thing, right? So like, Celtics, generally speaking, like, get their rookies that they think are really good but not good enough. They ship them to main Red Claws for a while to shore them up a bit. Then the rookies start feeling like a bit better about themselves and like, oh, okay, I can play with the big boys. It wasn't just like, I'm here now, what do I do? Ship them back into the Celtics and give them another shot in the next season, generally. Like, and they've shown that works. I mean, Tatum's still a bit rough, to be honest. seeing him in the last game trying to hammer shots was just like cringeworthy. But
Oh, it happens though. He's still superstar.
yeah, and that's the
he's
point.
carrying.
Like,
Well, not carrying that team, but he's the load that he carries for his
he is
age
pretty
and
for a
much
young dude.
yeah, he's pretty much carrying the team. Let's be honest. Like
as a leader,
Yeah.
like as performance-wise, you know, the thing that I love about the Celtics is they are so evenly spread, and they have
Exactly.
obviously Tatum, who's a star, but it's not like they have, they don't have that Kawhi, they don't have that, LeBron, they don't have, James Harden. Like they've literally got sort of probably 4 dudes that you would be hard to split on a level as far as quality players. But they've all just really bought into the sort of same idea, the same goals, and they've played as a team. It's sort of a bit like, Miami Heat, really.
Yeah. And I think that's our next step. We saw the era of kind of the superstar, that kind of thing. You just load up on them and build it, and they'll come type thing. It's like, yeah, to some extent, but we've seen a few of those that just didn't work. It just fell apart, and because you have to have. Chesh and I talk about work cultures a lot, and that's actually my favorite theme in basketball. But culture is everything, and you see why some players stick and some don't, and it just doesn't work. And I credit to Boston are building that, and I've always thought Brad Stevens just seems like such a good dude, and same with Gordon Hayward, who played for him in college, but that seems like the kind of place. And then there was a lot of people talking about when Kyrie was there and how like polarizingly different that was, and how players played like absolute crap because they felt they didn't feel the same around him. And you see Gordon Hayward's stats like when Kyrie was there and when not there. There you go, exactly. So Kyrie's a great player, but it's the right fit for the thing. But I just love the teams that are built this way, that there's redundancy, so you still can be really happy. You can still be confident in them when they drop a key player. You've still got all these backups, kind of you're versatile, shifting around, that kind of thing. But it's just, it's not the onus on one person. And it's like, that's why I love the Nuggets. They're such a weird team. And Jokic is amazing, but it might be Murray's night one night or whatever. But yeah,
that team's been built really organically as well.
Exactly, I think that's the key. It's organic, like building for sure.
It's sort of it's mature from the coach, the sort of staff, the players have built it over time. It's taken a while, and it's sort of coming together, and it's exciting to watch. As opposed, and it's as much as I hate to admit it, like being a Clippers fan, but I can sort of say that, I've spent 20 years of absolute unhappiness, so I'm happy to have my year at the top, even though we've pre-purchased the team and put it together. But you see
it's like
now,
bolting on the A squad in a way. Like it was that team that scared the Warriors in the playoffs was so good and so much fun. Like I love Trez and I love Lou, and it's so cool. And then they bolted on the starting lineup. It's pretty strange. But yeah,
well, I think it was always a buying time thing. Like from the minute that they traded to Philadelphia, the minute they traded Tobias Harris, that was obviously we're cleaning out, we're making sure we've got room for space, we're just playing the rest of the season out. Like, it was almost written off. And I think in the wrong culture, that's when they would have just not played for anything and they would have just lost. But they're showing that those guys are playing for the right reasons.
Exactly.
It was sort of good that they managed, like you said, they pushed the Warriors. But the flip side to that is the team today. You see Kawhi's body language, you see Paul George's body language. When they blow 2 16-point leads in a row, all of a sudden, there's no one hanging over. Pat Beverly's not hanging off the bench, waving flags, and Trez isn't headbutting the basketball sort of pylons and stuff anymore.
They're a little like worried now. Oh crap! Because PG made that statement the other day. He's just like, that was them fighting to be, fighting back, and that we will give them that
PG's
game.
got to stop making statements at the moment.
Exactly.
It's almost turned into a Chris Paul. No, who was? Yeah, was it Chris Paul? And he says, some people are made for the fourth quarter and some aren't. And then the next day, he threw away the ball with 5 seconds to go to not be able to keep OKC. I thought she's that age well, but yeah.
Leg in face. Or what was it? I mean, the Paul Pierce one a couple of years ago that was so good. It was was it the Bucks? I can't even remember who it was, but yeah, it's like what he says and then it turns around. Exactly.
But the point I was going to make before we got completely sidetracked with surprise basketball talk.
I was just nerding out, man. It's great.
Carson is young and has like so much time to be better, and I'm not in this for the most part, to flip stuff off that I want. It's in saying that. So there is some stuff that I'm absolutely looking at some point to get graded once I get enough bulk stuff built up, and that is for two reasons. One is because anything that doesn't grade well enough to really sell, I'll just keep anyway. I don't care because I'm opening this stuff for nostalgia sake. But if I can make a little bit back so that I can keep funding boxes for the channel, I'm going to be a lot happier.
Yeah, you snowball that exactly.
Exactly.
I think people have a bad feeling though. Now people are almost scared to grade a card to sell because they feel like they'll be labelled some sort of flipper or whatnot. And like even then, you're almost justifying it for a reason. It's like, you know, at the end of the day, the way people buy now, and particularly on Facebook, you know, everyone expects every card they buy to be in perfect mint condition. If it's not, they're trying to return it and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I mean, grading a card is just logical now to sell. To be able to say, you know, this is what it is. This is the card. It's PSA 9, and you know, there's no real going to be the buyer doesn't come back to you, and there's no sort of arguments over the condition. So you know, it's not a silly thing to do anyway. You don't need a backstory for making some money and funding the channel and supplying what you promised to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's more about like there's stuff here that I absolutely do want to keep. Case in point, there's some stuff that I absolutely want to keep for myself, and there's some stuff that I'm like, if one of them grades lower than the other, like I sell the higher grade one and keep the lower grade one for myself for my own personal collection. Like these Jordans, which look absolutely amazing, and these are like these are the collector's choice ones.
The checklist one.
These are the checklist ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, they just look amazing. They look awesome. I was like such a big fan of these. The All-Star Jordan, because you know,
always goes back to it's like, what does it mean to you? You know? Exactly.
Yeah, like even the hologram, which is amazing and has like a small dimple over here that's you can barely see it. But if I can see it and I'm legally blind, then PSA or whatever will definitely pick that up. You know, and this is the reason why like opening these boxes is really cool, because we get to see these cool ass Jordans, like regardless.
How good are the 90s designs of
cards?
Like,
we were talking about it's like
just the inserts and even the base. Like everyone always talks about, you know, 90s inserts are so much better, and it's, you know, it's true. I think they were definitely more creative, but even the base cards, like they just look so much better. I get sick of seeing 42 variations of the same card with a different colored background, or, you know, blue ice, blue shimmer ice cracked, and it's insane. Like it's, you know,
and that's it. Like as it grows, product saturation is that too. It's just there's so much of it too.
Yeah, and like we've only opened like 3 boxes so far, and this is all the cool stuff we've gotten. Now there's going to be questions from people, I'm sure, about the Magic Johnson stuff. If you've got it and it's in really good condition and you think it's going to grade well, maybe, just maybe before 2021, you should look at maybe getting that stuff graded. Just saying.
You're just saying because this year could have lots of bad things happen?
No, because next year the documentary comes out.
I was going to say, it's like, what else does this year have to throw at us? But yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too grim about it.
This is sounding terrible. What's happening?
Yeah, I completely forgot about the doco, but yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, no, the docu. Yeah, exactly. And Larry Johnson's, of course, because, you know, rookies of Larry Johnson grading sounds hilarious.
That one. That's awesome. And that
Dikembe. And I don't know, I do need to check over the Prism to see if it's submittable.
It's probably got fingerprints all over it, sorry.
Exactly. No, that's fine. But
I kept it alright, I think.
Old Prisms are probably, I'd imagine, like the hardest to get a grade on, just because of the age. Like even if it has been sitting around in a top loader, you know, it could have like yellowing up the top that you can't see very well. Especially if you need.
They didn't bend actually, and it's. I mean, we talked about that too. That Carmelone behind the Elite One bends, but the Prism were fine from that thing. But
that's it.
I in that batch too, I sold a Bogut Green. Speaking of colored kind of what do you call it, variants that actually kind of match something. He is with the Warriors.
He would have been the Bucks in, wasn't he?
No, it's still it was Warriors because it was maybe it was just Warriors. I can't remember when the Monte trade was. By the way, I remember that Monte trade and people calling Warriors morons. It was like they're like, oh, I'm quitting being a Warriors fan. I'm like, you're an idiot. Like it's just like Monte, great, yeah, but like he was kind of.
But see, he was still the I guess not the future, obviously, because he was born pretty quick. But at that stage, Jeff
there's
hadn't
so much
really
more.
taken it over as his team, had he?
Yeah, exactly, and it's like, and never really kind of did pass there, but I guess it's shown that Bogut had so much more. I guess so many more legs in the game still, and just was such a factor that was not as flashy, but so much more important to a championship team for sure.
He had a pretty bad run with injuries. I sort of feel bad for him that he's potentially sort of goes in some of those lists as disappointing number one draft picks. When I just don't think he was. Like I think he could have been very different for him.
Yeah, I think he's just more of a sensible player. That he's always been like. Not many people talk about how good his passing is, things like that. But yeah, for sure. And he had one of those freak accidents too. He had did he do the elbow?
Yep.
There's like
it was elbow or wrist, but it was like a fallback down.
Yeah, it's the top three you think of when you're like, it's something you don't want to watch again. It's the Sean Livingston one, and then the Kevin Weir, I think he was. Is his name? The college guy, and he snapped his leg. It's like, nah, you don't want to see that. Yeah, no, he's been through a bit, and then he's kind of just stopped playing, going back to ball at the moment. I think he made a big statement about COVID and everything. He's just like, nah, I'm just going to not going to get involved in anything.
He owns one of the teams, the NBL teams. I think, well, he's got a part of it.
So, yeah.
Maybe whether I assume it's the Kings because he's playing there.
Yeah, and it says last played there, but yeah, exactly. That's good. So, anything else you want to go through, Chesh?
I mean, I definitely don't have a Carson problem.
Nah, yeah. No, let's just do a little Carson update. Like,
do a Carson update?
Through. I love that Art Nouveau, by the way. That's so good. It feels like a little Clover.
Probably going to need this as well, though.
It is your basketball collector's album.
Well, yeah. So let me just move those off to the side. Let's see if I can do this.
It is one too, isn't it? It says it on the one. Yeah.
So I don't know if we're going to be able to really get everything in frame here, to be honest. Yeah. I might just read off the folder first. So there's 2 pink mosaics, 4 normal mosaics. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 NBA hoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5 Donruss Reddit rookies. 3 optics. I don't know where the rest are at the moment. I think they're in transit. There's about 10 in transit. There's 2
big question mark. Exactly.
Yeah, 2 base revolution in here. There is 4 Court Kings level 1 rookie cards. There's the Thread rookie card. There is a green Donruss rated rookie of Carson in here as well.
I just love that green does appear quite a bit.
I know, right?
As a varying color. I was like, yeah, this is convenient.
Speaking of green hoops, Carson is in here. Level 2 Court Kings rookie. What else have we run out in this folder? I think we haven't.
And it's not. I mean, you've said this before and not in a way to justify it or anything, but it's like, yeah, it totally is what the player means to you, and kind of. It's not even about flipping them if he suddenly takes off and becomes a starter and it's all great. It's more that you've chosen a player to follow, and actually the latest episode of the Talking Cardboard podcast actually talked about this in a way that the vested interest versus player type thing. Even if it's not your player you're particularly following, sometimes it's like just receiving a card in a break or something. Like, oh, I've got an interest in this person now.
I think it's sort of people get that wound up about. The flipping and selling and that these days, and it's sort of we recorded on the weekend, but I've actually been a little bit slack to edit it. But it's sort of more so about, I guess, people finding their sort of why and their lane in the hobby and sort of starting to and just ignoring. Because I mean, at the moment, the thing that I find worse than the box prices in the hobby and worse than singles prices is the volume of Karens in the hobby that just seem to be angry
Yeah.
with everything else. Like that. It's like, sure,
Exactly.
you don't like the retail flipping? Well, just ignore the post. Just go on to the next one. Or,
Yeah.
sure, you think this guy's charging too much? Just ignore it. Like,
And I think it's like I don't like the way you approach this thing that I like, and in a way that can get very gatekeepery kind of thing.
It's almost like religion, everyone's telling each other what they should do and what their values should be.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, like everyone can have, and I think that's a good thing about the hobby is that, there's so many different avenues to go about your own way. And I don't think anyone's more entitled than the other, but I think the hard thing at the moment is that people are sort of almost just jumping in, and new people come in and they're sort of almost just like, all right, I've got to buy into every break. I've got to try to get every retail sort of box, get some blasters off. I've got to get every player, and it's just like
that is not sustainable.
Planned it a little bit, because I mean, I don't know how everyone else goes, but without those odd sort of a few cards that I might get, like saying, you think, oh, this player could be all right. You hold on to it for a while, they start doing well, and it's like fantastic. I might sell a couple of these so I can buy a new PC card. Like it's a it's a ecosystem, and it's sort of a food chain that has to happen. Otherwise, unless you're a millionaire,
it's funny you say that with like the 17 hoops that I've got, and I actually have 11 Revo Carstens now. I just found out.
All right.
Because they're shiny, just base ones. So we of course have the Art Nouveau, which I think is just a really cool looking card. They're a numbered card. They've got a nice patch. It's all green, which is aesthetically pleasing. There's of course the RPA from
card
Origins.
too, like that. Like just the plain background, a picture. It's always one of my favorite cards every year has been just like the next day autos.
Exactly.
And just how simple they are. White background with just a simple picture and a really nice sort of almost just classy, minimal sort of card. And I think those Art Nouveaux are very much like that.
Yeah. So we have a Chronicles Marquee. We have the red optic.
Classic. Yeah. No.
Or pink, really. Like, it looks pink to me, but
I'm gonna say magenta, Chesh.
Yeah, pretty much.
What are you guys' thoughts on Chronicles as a product? Do you guys enjoy Chronicles? Where do you see it? Because I've seen it was an interesting post today, like on Facebook. Someone posted and they said, hey, really weird. Don't know if this happened to anyone else, but did anyone else randomly get a prism in their Chronicles? And I was like, hang on. I wonder if people that are buying into this product understand what it is. And we'd had a similar thing. Like I'm predominantly, these days I probably spend more time in the hobby within football as far as NFL. And I mean, people sort of have the same thing. They talk about, they've got X rookie, and they've got their select rookie. They're looking to get a value on it or sell it. And it's like, well, you've actually got their Chronicles rookie because select's not out for this year in football. And it's probably not really the same values as someone's select rookie card. And I think maybe I love it. And I think it's a fun set to open and there's some cool stuff. But I just wonder if people misunderstand what the product is sometimes and whether that price gets reflected, I guess, in an honest way in the secondary market. And it's a weird one. I've done a lot of soul searching about Chronicles recently.
I think Chesh have more to say about it, but I just find it exactly that way. It was, I mean, I didn't pay for the box or anything, but got to witness it with Chesh, but it was fun. And that's the thing I would, finding players I would want to collect in there would be more about going, oh, cool, I have that. And it's, you just see a bit more going on, which was just, I don't know. It was just kind of refreshing in a way to see a bit of variance going on. But
well, I mean, if you get it at a retail price, for $45
for
a blaster,
good luck.
Dopamine hits of getting like 10 Jar and Zions, one of those things is amazing. Like that's it's better than any drug for that price. But I think it's just some of the prices that people were paying for them, and that I've seen in Facebook groups and stuff was it's just crazy.
Yeah, I think I got mine at like 150. I wouldn't. There's no way I'd go over that at all. I mean, even 150 is too much for the product. But
150 is still when you think about the costs of everything nowadays, like it's pretty hard unless you are lucky enough to get them on pre-order. That's that 150 is about as good as it gets these days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's
the name.
But they peaked it a lot more, didn't they?
Yeah.
Before that,
the name of the product speaks for itself. It's a fucking chronicle of sets. It's a chronicle. It's called Chronicles. But
I don't know. There's just so much. There's so much language and noise of messaging going on.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
almost
Like,
understand it. People aren't. They really do need things spelled out for them. But I mean, I see one of the boxes here, the mega box, and it just says great value on it, and that's usually what people say.
It's got great value. I'll get
It
one of
literally
those.
says great value. It's like, oh, it could be a boat. Like, yeah, awesome.
well, I think
Imagine Panini had lied to me.
I think it's two things, right? So Panini should have probably better explained what this was, rather than thinking that people would know. Because Chronicles, this isn't the first time we've seen Chronicles, but in saying that, there's a lot of new people come into the hobby who have zero idea, and you can't just assume that that'd be like picking up a booster of Magic the Gathering, never having played it before, and for Wizards to expect you to know how to play the fucking game.
But where does the sort of responsibility fall on? Should someone that's going to purchase something, should they maybe read the box and see what's, obviously if you look it up online and you sort of even, you search Chronicles 2019, you'll come across those sort of Cardboard Connection or any of those sort of sites.
Yeah, you've almost got to see someone write it.
They sort of have like, the write out that says, it includes cards of, X, X, and X. So it's sort of, I don't know if it should be, whether it's Panini, whether it's distributors, whether it's breakers, whether it's people's own fault, they should be looking into it more. I think it's just interesting that so many people are paying so much money blindly, almost, because that's what maybe, who are they chasing? What are they chasing?
They're only chasing.
They perceive that value as like it's just it must be that price for a reason type thing.
It's John Zion.
You put credibility into the price or whatever.
Yeah,
almost.
It's John Zion. That's all they're chasing. Like, let's be honest. That is the reason why they're buying product.
How good do those acetates look this year?
So good.
Last year's corkings.
They are so good.
Nice.
Yeah. So I guess we'll get this back on track. Because I'm hungry. So 2 Corkings acetates. We have the Crusade, which is from Chronicles, which is great. I actually have another one in here which is numbered, which we'll get to. The Essentials, also from Chronicles. Speaking about Chronicles, here's where it starts getting a bit weird and interesting. So 1, 2, 3. So I bought 3 red cracked ice of Carson.
Nice.
Because they look really good, and people seem to not really like Revolution until the rookie in the set makes it big, and then they're like, oh, this is a great set, and they start buying it. So I bought these pretty low. I think relatively low. I think that 2 of them were $6 each from Cherry, and one of them was about $2.50 off eBay. There's of course, I don't even know the name of a heap of these parallels, or don't remember. So this one has all the little cool explosions in the background, like little circles.
And do they actually what do you call it? Do they name them with proper nouns and everything?
Yeah.
It is named by those guys. It's not like
every parallel has a special name.
Yeah.
Has it got it on the back? Flip it, because don't they have they name them? It's not Impact.
Oh, Groove. It says Groove up here. I'm
Groove.
assuming
Yeah.
that's
Groove. It's like Impact, Groove, Fractal.
And this one should be Astro. Yeah. So the Astro Carson, which has the cool.
It really is a cool Rainbow Revolution one.
So cool. Then we get into Select. I couldn't find a whole lot of Select out there. I assume that people it's too expensive for them to buy, or they're just hoarding them. But I found 3 base Carson Select. I then came across, and I can't actually see if there's a name on the back, but I've got one of these really cool swirly prism looking Select ones, which was awesome. Then I found
that crazy foil technology.
Yeah, and then I found a tricolor one, so I snapped that up as well. That was actually pretty cheap as well. Then we get into the interesting one. Oh, actually no, there's more dice. No, that's that. That's from there. I put that on the wrong pile because that's how we do it. There we go. And
it's so organised. I wish I was organised.
But it's funny because
collection's a mess.
This is something we had a chat about on Instagram the other day, which is Carson Edwards. Well, I mean, we were just basically yammering on about rookies being in college uniform, basically, and because I don't
yeah.
understand, it doesn't make sense to me. So I got a base prism. I then picked up a silver prism, an orange prism, then some in the white uniform. We've got the base prism, the orange prism, the purple prism, because they just all seemed pretty hot and extremely cheap. So I was like, yeah, I'll snap those up. Why not? It's for my PC. I don't care. Then I got a normal prism from that horror lot that was sent to me where the other two cards were absolutely mangled.
Yeah.
Don't buy from eBay user Emon. Or NBA
There's a
lover.
long list of those people.
Oh, there
I
is.
was going to say I've started to see a few pop up on other people's pages of they do the you got to take a photo of an absolute male horror story and show it. But yeah, that one I tagged you in the other day, Chesh, was great.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a few more around. It seemed like you were getting one every week for a bit. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, pretty much. So I picked up some stuff from Michaela, and I think this black box was actually from Chronicles as well. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure this came from Michaela. Numbered black box Carson, which was cool. The Purple Crusade, which is absolutely stunning when you look at it. It's just so vibrant.
There we go. It's a long-term auto. It's nice.
Court King's Heir Apparent.
So everyone's over stickers at this stage, aren't they?
For the most part. Like, some of them aren't. I don't think this one is.
I mean, like, just public perception, though, that not another sticker.
But it's funny because somebody pointed out that there's texture on the back. It's not, it's on the sleeve. I just haven't changed out the sleeve from what it came in because I'm a bit lazy like that.
One.
It's an eBay one of one. I'll just paint on the front of the card and make it look terrible. So I keep seeing those float around the Facebook groups where somebody's like painting on the card, and it's like, it works in Magic, but those people know how to paint.
Well, they're just adding their own artwork to it, or
yeah, they're just like adding their own background to the card, and it just looks horrible. And they're like, one Giannis altar, and I'm like, that looks horrible.
Oh no!
Like,
I did not know there's a thing in basketball.
It is. Yeah, it is. I should find some
it's
pictures.
Not something I've been terribly exposed to.
Yeah.
I see it randomly on Facebook and I just cringe. So most of these signatures were between $30 and $60, or $20 and $60, I should say.
They're pretty rare, the signatures out of Revolution, because they're not even one per box. I think it's one in every second box. So
exactly.
It's not like they come out a whole heap.
And when I saw it, I was like, I'm snapping it up because, again, I mean, PC, but also it's really pretty. And I really enjoy it. Same with the fast break prism stuff. Is just holy shamoly.
It's just the most. I mean, that's I reckon maybe the peak of how much foiling I can handle.
My eyes can't handle this much foil. I looked at this in the sun, and my eyes just burnt out of my skull. I was just like, yep, we're on holiday now.
Australian sun, though, Chesh. They'll might make a Pringle of your card.
Well, yeah. That's why I keep them out of the light. Like mushrooms.
That's true.
But yeah, I just thought that this...
Exactly, my mushroom cabinet.
I thought that this was really cool. I actually have another signature that's in the post somewhere at the moment. Thanks to Block City. They're sending one, as I was saying before, because of that little mishap that happened with my package that wasn't even entirely their fault. But sure, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. The last one is this cool Chronicles one, which is just so weird because it almost looks like you'd expect out of a washed out printing plate.
I love that effect of flux. It's kind of cool.
So Flux Prism from
like that bow barn you opened,
yeah, from Chronicles.
Cool.
So yeah, that's how the Carson PC is going at the moment. Thanks for asking.
And the one behind, of course, the great patch and the auto, sure.
Yeah, the orange up here.
Have you thought about where you're going with the PC? Like, is there have you got any particular themes that you're looking at in time, or you're just building up as many of them, or is there any certain sort of path that you're looking to go down with it? Or
I mean, I'm sort of just picking up what's cheap when I can. Like, if I see something that I think is underpriced, I'll pick it up. Like, somebody offered me a whole heap of different Chronicles stuff for like $500, And I just looked at it and I was like, I mean, it's cool, and like some of it's like short print and super short print, but like $500 for like 6 cards, I can't really like justify that spend. That's a lot of money for for so few cards. Like
Yeah.
I would rather spend
That
500
level.
bucks and get some PSA 9 Jordan insert. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
instead of getting like 5 little things, I could get one big thing.
I mean, it comes down to two. Like, even if you have a look at the value of Luca's Chronicle stuff from last year, it's not like these prices for some of that Chronicle stuff at the moment will hold long term anyway. So it's very much about FOMO and hype for these prices.
Yeah.
It's not like, Prism and whatnot that'll constantly appreciate value. Like even Luca rookie stuff from the year before's Chronicles, even in PSA 9 and 10, is, we're talking maybe a couple of $100 at the most, as opposed to, the $6,000 for a silver Prism rookie. So, I mean, it's not like it really holds a lot of value long term. So I think, in a couple of months' time, when this clearly Donruss or whatever it is they've just announced, and all these other different things are out, and there's new noise to confuse and distract people. I think you'd probably be able to pick up
Oh,
that same sort of lot for
it's
a lot
already
cheaper
happening.
anyway.
Like, look at the prices of Chronicles blasters at the moment on Facebook. Like, the prices on the blasters are actually falling already. The fat packs are falling. People are selling, and just to make a side point going the other way, Illusions blasters were like, selling on Facebook the other day for like $80 a pop instead of like 150/250 like there were a couple of weeks ago, because now more are entering Australia. That's the weird part of Chronicles versus Illusions, however. So Illusions is very vet heavy from what I can see, and the hits are few and far between when compared to Chronicles, which is weird because Chronicles hits are few and far between. You don't notice because of all the fucking rookies. But Chronicles is a heavy rookie set, whereas, Illusions is an illusion of your wallet. Like, it's not... You think it's going to be like this cash cow, and it's going to have like, all of your jars and your Zions, but people like cracking blaster box after blaster box and going, where's all my Ja Morants? Where's all my Zion Williamsons?
Yeah,
It's like
sunk cost fallacy type stuff, and it's. I mean, Shay, you said that element, I think, just sticks into so many aspects of buying or in this hobby and people purchasing things is FOMO, and it is it's so interesting that it's also just this hobby operates at the speed that blows my mind now as well. It's crazy that things can just fluctuate so much.
Just move and change. So I mean, the biggest thing for me, and it's sort of, I get pretty staunchly defensive over 90s and what people call junk wax, because my main PC is junk wax. But I mean, I looked a while ago just on the Beckett website and had a look into. It was probably about 2 months ago now, so this will have gone up even more. But at the time, there was over 1,300 checklisted Zion rookie cards. And now, if you think about how many more come out in Chronicles, how many come out in the other couple of releases that have come out since then, there'd easily be sort of 1,500 to 1,600 checklisted Zions. In Shaq's rookie year, he had 72 checklisted cards, and even for LeBron, he had 150 checklisted rookies. And for both those players, across the test of time, there's only one or two key cards that hold a lot of value when we think about, their key rookie cards and value. And then that sort of value falls off, and there's a lot of cheaper ones that weren't sort of really considered over time, those key ones. So that's the thing for me. A lot of people get sort of FOMO and they think, right now every Zion card is worth $200 or $300, but I don't know whether it will be for so long. But it's crazy. I think people do get caught up, and everyone wants to, because you want to have, you want to be opening the latest things, and you want to be involved. You're watching breaks online, and you're seeing everything. You're like, I want myself some of that. But I think if people sometimes step back just a tiny bit and go, well, can I wait a little bit? They could probably save themselves a heap of money. Maybe.
Yeah, it don't have to have everything.
But it's fun,
But I want everything. I want it now, Daddy, now.
I say this and preach it, and then, I'll get off and I'll be like, oh, Opulence has just been released. I need to get an Opulence break. There goes $500 on nothing.
And that's the thing as well. Like, it's funny because it really is. It comes down to like gambler's delight, right? Like new set comes out. Hey, I'm going to go in a case break for $500. Hopefully, I'll crack something good. And it's like you've got just as much chance in that case break at cracking something good than you do with the random team like 3 box break. It's all about how much money you can justify,
Yeah,
burning a hole in your fucking pocket. And don't get me wrong, like I love going in the odd break here and there. Like God knows I'm in Cherry's, I'm in Cherry's YouTube every day watching their breaks, just like educating myself on different products. Because that's as I always say, like education in this hobby, regardless of what you are in this hobby for, is key. Like, because you want to see how easy it is to get that particular card that you want out of X set. Like,
well, I mean, the original concept of group breaks was always, and like probably one of the original group breakers, like in Australia anyway, was Grayson, as it was from his lounge room before Cherry.
Yeah.
But in essence, it was because of the lack of sort of boxes over here. But hobby boxes as well. You could split the cost between 30 people. You could do a random team, or you could pick the team you wanted. And you're paying 1/30th of the price of having to wear a whole box where you might not have got much anyway. And it's a really, I think it's a good concept to be able to check out new product, or to be able to collect teams. It's definitely a sort of great idea, but just the way it's drifted to that now you've got people that are essentially splitting the cost across 30 of 3 blasters and a mega, or 3 blasters and a fat pack that was retail value is $90, and you're paying $80 for your 1/30th of that sort of share. That's where maybe everyone's gone a bit crazy, like yeah, and that's what, and it's like, what are you guys even going to get? And it's an extension of, I guess, the way prices have gone and the distribution. There's so much complexity to all of the markets like that, but I just noticed lately, like, there's obviously been so much talk in Facebook groups about the market's the way it is because of breakers. It's like, well, it's not really because of breakers itself, but it's getting such a bad stigma when originally, what it was, the way it was designed to do, and I think it's almost single-handedly the reason that the hobby experienced such growth, because people all of a sudden had access to open boxes and whatnot. So, I think it's a really good thing, but it's just evolved into some crazy sort of beast.
Yeah, I think that's really good to remember. That it's a concept founded on accessibility, and it's what we often have to do in Australia to find ingenious ways to get around things, because it's just hard to get. And I mean, we talked to a few people. It was like around that time too. I mean, I'm thinking when I opened a little bit of stuff when it was accessible, like back in 2012, and then even before that, but getting an NBA game anywhere, like I think of that level of my exposure to the NBA, and I didn't, I'd have a friend with ESPN, whatever, but often it was going to a place like Kicks in the city to go play.
And it's even the old days before League Pass put a limit of how many people could watch it. You'd have 5 or 6 mates all chipping in and paying for the League Pass together, so you could all have access to it.
And it took them that long to realise how big the Australian audience was.
Well, they updated it during the playoffs. Like, it was the start of the playoffs where they changed it. All of a sudden, only 2 people could be logged in at a time back then. So we had about 6 or 7 guys sharing an account, and then all of a sudden, come first day of the playoffs, we're all watching separate games and just logging each other out as we're trying to do it. And then we're like, that's weird. Why did I get logged out? Log back in. It's logged the other guy out. Then he's logged you out, and everyone sort of got on phone calls and like, what's going on? And then we realised, like, oh, they've changed it. It was devastating. Exactly. But it's we obviously have different access to everything over here, and it's sort of just our nature, the amount of times you go somewhere, you're like, I'll get some mates to come and, come to the coffee shop. I'll get my mates to come here and get coffee. And if I get a discount, it's just the way everyone's always trying to find ways to bargain their own things. And I mean, I think breaking's it's a good thing, and it was a great thing for the hobby, but I think it's just people, it's once again, I think people just probably should do more homework on what they're jumping in or how much they're paying and that sort of stuff. But
jump in on Prism, people.
Not an evil thing.
Prism all the way. Prism, nothing but Prism.
Yeah.
I'd break nothing but Prism all day if I could. Although it's a lot of thought, and as much as I hate it, like I break football a couple of nights a week, and I love those sort of, but like those sort of Prism products are obviously, it's great. There's so much value for people in it, but to sort them and to sort of, probably break worth of 9 of those boxes. to sort into teams. And everyone sort of talks about when they do an auction and then they have to, and this is the other side of breaking it. Everyone always thinks, I might become a breaker. And it's all fun and games. So you start doing, maybe 3 or 4 breaks a week. And
Oh
all of a
yeah.
sudden then I'm sending out 90 mailers every week. I'm, packing sort of thousands of cards every week. And this is like squeezed into a nighttime job. This is, not a full-time job. And it's like, geez, when you work it out an hourly wage, I actually would have been better off working at Macca's for about 4 hours and not had PMs about where's my mail and, everything else. So, it's not as
like,
cool.
how much do I love this? Oh, well, thankfully a bit. So, yeah.
It's one of those memes, like, what my friends think I do and, what I think I do. It's one of those. Exactly. Everyone looks at breaks and, they're just making millions and they're ruining the hobby. Yeah. And it's like, actually, I made about $15 after I took all my costs out and it took me 7 hours.
Yeah,
well, exactly. Always goes back to what's your time worth,
Yeah, like I've had a couple of people ask me if I'm gonna get into breaking because they want to like break with me, and I'm like, you know what, just support my fucking Patreon. Like, support my Patreon. I'll try and get you something cool, but I just don't think.
The only reason, like, I love breaking, and the only thing I love it for, it's definitely not the money side of things. There's so many things that I could do that make 1,000 times more money. But it's literally, I just love getting to open things, and with box prices the way it is, I almost accept that time spent and the fact that it's a negative return on investment for the time I'm spending compared to the money I'm taking out. The way I say I get paid is literally, I get to open, every month I'm opening sort of, 60 modern sort of boxes, like, and, hobby boxes and product as far as, national treasures and whatnot, that probably, I definitely wouldn't be buying boxes or cases of national treasures in real life and just opening them for myself. So the fact that you get to open them, that's probably, where I see my payment. But
and then there's enough passion in there to go then as well. You can keep that energy going and push that into, that's literally all knowledge for your other content, and that's,
exactly. Well, that's what it is. It becomes a bit of a feeder for that, a bit of both. But I think any of the people that get in it for the wrong reason and stuff, I think it won't take that long till I'll end up getting out of it when they realise how unglamorous it is.
Well, it's funny
because there's got to be people in it too, and that's what you find. Like Chesh's finding, it's like, oh, we've actually got people who come hang out on whatever night, and it's like that's what it's about, and that's why I do it. It's great.
Yeah, like the other thing for me is like at some point I would rather be doing mystery packs, like based on stuff that I'm opening. Like get something graded, chuck it into like the mystery pile, and do up mystery packs for Patreons rather than like doing breaks. Because my whole thing is like I will absolutely join a break if I A, have the money, and B, I want a little bit of excitement. But most of the time I usually tell people like breaks aren't always going to pay off. You're not always going to get something in it. And for me, that's the feel better.
Like you said, I think, like entertainment wise, like when I go on a break,
how much is that worth?
It's like, it's like going to the movies. When I walk out the movies, I don't necessarily expect that movie's going to change my life. And I understand that, I paid $20 for an hour and a half's entertainment. If that gives me, another couple of hours of thought-provoking thoughts in my head for an hour or two, well, that's great. This is even better. But at the end of the day, I paid, that money for an hour and a half's entertainment. I think that's what breaks are like too. And that, you can see that through a lot of the people now breaking. I think they are spending more time engaging people and trying to build little communities, which is cool, rather than just the old days of, it's almost like some shady drug deal where someone's almost like, hey, I'll have a spot, thanks. And they're like, okay. And they get on there, open the card within 10 minutes and it's gone again. And you're like, wow, what just happened there? Like, but, I think now it's becoming much more of a, an entertainment, a community sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it goes exactly back to our original point about building teams the right way these days, which is build them organically rather than for the black and white reasons, just like straight up. It looks great on paper. It's going to be great, and that's the opinion of doing it. It's like you're going to crack so much basketball cards and it'll be awesome and all this money, and it's like no, but what about all the late nights you're packaging up mailers? Like how are you going to be driven through that stuff?
Oh, me and my girlfriend have some amazing date nights, like pre-stamping envelopes together on a Saturday night. There's some real quality time that we spend together.
Oh, one of the things I asked Chesh is like you got your like you sent a little bit of stuff, I imagine, but nothing like that quantity. But like you got your stamp yet for the back of the mailer, like just to automate that process.
I had to get a label maker. It changed my life. Like Hey, my writing is terrible. Like I've had jobs before where my employees like almost give me, written instructions that I am to write. Like everything is to be printed out on a computer, not to handwrite. So, I'm a terrible writer as it is. So Australia Post are probably happy now to cut down their work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a game changer.
Try being legally blind.
Auctions and stuff.
Being legally blind is the hardest thing when it comes to me writing. Like my writing looks like doctor scribble. I'm like, I don't get paid like a doctor, but I sure as fuck write like a doctor. You can barely read it.
They start out fine, the first one, and by the time you get down to like number 20 or 30,
exactly.
It's just you're in automatic mode, and you start to realise that things just don't even make sense anymore.
Yeah,
now I'm looking, it's like, oh, why is my signature different? And so,
well, that's it. I had to send like 30 packages out the other day. I got through like number 10, and I was just like, nah, fuck it. I'm just going to fill my address out on the back unless it's like expensive.
That's it.
just fuck it.
Breaks paying for the RSI and that kind of thing,
Yeah. But I mean,
people
right,
wonder
like,
why, hey, Luca's signature looks a bit different in this one. Like, all right, that's probably the 75,000th card he just signed in 4 hours.
Oh,
but you're right. Like going back to the value for money. Like, what are you getting? Which is why I always say to people, like, go and find somebody like Blake Cherry who's going to entertain you. Because at the end of the day, you're pretty much paying for the entertainment. Like for me, I always feel bad if I go in a break where I get a team that I just I have no idea who the fuck's in there. And I walk away with nothing. But if the breaker is entertaining, it softens that blow because I'm like, you know what? At least I got to hang out and like Blake was interacting with with YouTube and with Facebook, and we got to have a laugh about something, and that's kind of cool. But
I think you hit it there that it's like it's also but it's entertainment, but it's one step further. It's a dialogue.
It has to be dialogue and community.
It's a place for inclusivity, and you feel like you're part of something. And
I think that's what it is. Like, people forget in the hobby, everyone's in the hobby for different reasons, and like it's not necessarily I've had this conversation with people before and tried to explain to them. I think they potentially took it the wrong way, as if I was saying, we're all a bunch of damaged souls, which isn't true. But through some way or another, we're all craving something out of this hobby, and a lot of it is about the inclusiveness of it and people love. And you see any of those groups like Cherry that have always done well. The reason that they've done well is because they've built that sort of group and they've built that community, and people can feel a part of it. And
they're not closing that off to anyone.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a super underrated thing, and I think a year ago there was probably 4 breakers or 5 breakers in Australia basketball wise, and they almost had the opinion of, well, I don't really care. You want cards, you're going to need me. Just pay me more money and shut up. But it doesn't work like that now, and I think those guys, you can see a lot of those ones are really struggling to fill these days sometimes
because got to have something else.
It's come to backfire them, and there's all these new guys that are like really entertaining and sort of building these communities, and it's sort of
welcoming. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing I was going to close with as well. Like I've gone in a number of different breaks with a number of different Australians, and one of them was just didn't interact with chat. Was just basically. And I don't know, it would be stereotypical, but sounded like he was just like straight out of the ghetto and just like, yeah, mate, what's up, cunt? Like, fucking awesome. Just gonna hang out and open some cards. And I was like, that might work for your friends, but like, why the fuck aren't you interacting with your audience? Like, people are talking at you and you just can't be bothered to actually look at chat. It's just like, that just rubs me the wrong way. But there are some people out there who just absolutely, will dig it. Will just be like, yeah, no, that's fine. So
it comes down to, I guess, an expectations. Like my expectations, if me and 29 other people are going to pay you $600 more than the cost you paid for these boxes, entertain me, or at least put in some effort to do it. So when it's like a shaky old mobile phone stream, and it's in a dark room, and it's just looking like it's in some basement, I'm just like, oh no, like someone if someone put some effort in, they have a nice looking stream, they put in a bit of effort, I'll go.
and they're having fun opening it at the end of the day too. Like, exactly. And it's everyone wins basically, exactly. So you get that energy, and I think that's it. Again, it's organic, it's hard to fake, and it's got to be real. Yeah,
I just it's absolutely come down to one of those things that, like, you're right. It isn't. You can't fake having. I don't want to call it talent, because I'm a fucking talentless hack. I've always said this. I realize that my shit is somehow entertaining to people, even when I swear like a sailor. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, like I've been doing entertainment related stuff for like a good 20-25 years, and that's the only reason I know. Like that's why my voice sounds okay. That's why I know how to, like, generally speaking, interact with most people, even though I'm not a big fan of actual people. I'm a bit of an introvert that has to be an extrovert, which is not really true because we're all both.
But you've got to experience these people to be able to say with an educated sort of experience, people do suck. So at least you've gone out there, you've got some experience in it, and you've gone, they suck.
Well, look, right. So, I'm the old man of the hobby at this point. I believe I'm actually slightly older than Grayson, so I just don't look it and I don't sound it, but I'm like 42, so.
Oh, there's way older.
Yeah, I was gonna say in this hobby, and that's what.
There is, but I don't count them because they're all boring as shit.
We were talking about Magic the Gathering before, and that's what Chesh and I do a lot of, and that's the one that I use that as a comparison. People freak out for $400 boxes, like the sky is falling, and you're just like, whoa, please. And it's like, there's also, I find Magic has all ages, but I find generally, I think basketball has a young kind of influx as well, but there's generally the people as well that are even older, for sure.
I thought when you say about the Magic prices and them freaking out about $400 boxes, I found the really funny one last week or the week before with the AFL guys when Dominant sold out on the website. Yeah. Really, like, these guys are freaking out. It's like, welcome to the basketball life.
Yeah,
like, now you guys can understand.
Look, I have a Matthew Rowell signature coming in that I won in some competition, and I can't wait to sell it off for premium.
Hey, it's a really cool product. I'm not into AFL cards at all. I've never have been. But it's a really nice looking product, and it's pretty cool.
It looks really nice.
I said I was surprised Select had it in them, but that's my perception of Select.
Did you see their Supremacy last year? They do Supremacy, which is like almost it's pretty blatantly a direct copy of Flawless. They make them look like, and they have like the patches and autos. It's almost looks like a cheap Flawless.
We just copy anything.
Like it looks really cool to see these NBA cards, but that was like $500 or $600 box like off those guys last year, and it was super nice, and that sold really well also. But yeah, I think it's cool that they're probably putting a bit in because the Series 1, you see like the servo packs of footy cards. Those things, like, they have these players with the big chins and their caricatures. I just hate them. But
they're like the old
Grand Final week posters or whatever they were. Yeah,
that one illustrator guy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just looking now, Supremacy, and you just got like, it's just super weird seeing that style of product, and then there's just like David Parker, like Ron Barassi
with a 420 patch.
But also like the signatures look like they're just done with a big old like number 5 texture or something.
It's an improvement on what they've done. Let's leave it at that. It's a step forward.
You know what? I'll just say I hope there is the appetite, and I think there is, given the older market and stuff, whatever. And it's Australia. Who knows? It's because we're such a microcosm compared to something so
that's
huge, like numbers wise in the States, but. Retro players, like I hope, I'm sure there's people that collect that kind of stuff here. Even more that maybe I think that's all the thing in a hobby that gets me. I'm a Sonics fan, and I just love getting real cheap older player, autos and patches and stuff. And I don't even.
I've got I want an 89 90s Pistons PC. Just simply, it's a super fun PC that when I can't find any good shacks to buy, or I just don't have the funds to spend money on a $500 or $600 card, that inevitably I've got to the stage where I can't find any cheaper ones that I really want or don't have, and it's like, but I don't want to spend that. I can add a flawless sort of Dantley or even Lambier for like $40-$50. It's got like an insane patch and auto, and it's like a super nice card. And it's just
because it's thrown away because someone didn't find the jar or something, or the
exactly.
And I love that byproduct in a way, but it's I hope people find some more love with it. So yeah,
hope they do be rich. I hope someone decides at the Pistons. I need Gary V to start flashing around 89 90s Pistons cards on his Instagram.
Exactly.
He did it for Shaq for me. Now I can't afford to buy Shaq cards anymore, but hopefully he does it for the Pistons.
And on that note, anyway. I think we might leave it there.
Yeah, let's go get some dinner.
Because my dinner is here, and I need to go.
All right. Go get your food, man.
I will. So, Sam, where can people find you?
At Pass the Jam Sam on the Instas and the Twitters, and that's I'll just leave it at that one. But yeah.
And Shane, where can we find all of your good stuff?
All of my good stuff. The list will go on for a day there, but I don't know about good. But all of my stuff. Talking Cardboard on Instagram. Monday Night Football Breaks on Instagram, or MNF. And Shaq 80s on Instagram. Shaq PC 80s is, but that's probably linked to Talking Cardboard anyway. I think a lot of my stuff's linked to there. But that's about the main one. Otherwise, NBA Card Market on Facebook. One of the admins there as well. So if anyone's ever looking for a group that if they're not a member there, definitely pop in. I like to think we're fairly inclusive, but
Can
5,000
vouch.
members these days. So there's plenty of terrible people and plenty of fantastic people.
Yeah.
So there's always a good mixture.
The group
Nice.
is pretty damn good, to be honest. So definitely. As for myself, you can find me Chesh Breaks everywhere. That's it. That's pretty much it.
Love it.
So yeah,
Awesome.
cool. Well, we'll have to
Thanks
have
for
you
having
on.
me on, guys.
That's right. We'll have to
Alright,
have you
let's
on
keep
again
talking.
when we open some product. Because that'll be fun. I think that'll be very fun.
For sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a great week, folks.
Bye, everyone.
Take
See you
care.
guys.